Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we've got something a little bit different from the 56 oval Beetle that we're restoring. Check this out. Oh yeah, how nice is this thing? So she's a 23 window and it's a left-hand drive Brazilian bus. So this one got imported from Brazil and it's a mate of mine, and we're just doing a few little things to it that need touching up and modifying, I suppose you could say. We're doing a brake upgrade to the master cylinder, just doing a dual system because the single ones aren't legal here in Australia, so we've got to upgrade that. We've got a rear main seal that needs repairing. It's got a leak in it, and we've got this nice beautiful stainless steel exhaust that we're going to mount to it as well, and couple of other little bits and pieces. But yeah, she's a beauty, I tell you. And you know, a lot of people sort of say, oh, you know, Brazilian stuff, it's different, but it is actually its own entity in itself. So there's a lot of parts on here that are different to a German built bus, as you know. You know, a lot of people wouldn't know the difference, but you know, they've been making them for many years. They've got original dies and all the rest of it, stamping stuff out back in the day. So you know, the quality of it's pretty good. Like there's you look around this thing and it's been put together really nice, and it's got a nice big engine in it. You can see there it's actually a 1500 just with a single carby on it. I think it's a 31 or 32, but she goes along, she moves. So we're gonna upgrade the exhaust on it and probably do a few other little modifications while it's in here. So yeah, I just thought I'd show you guys this and we'll start ticking away at the bits and pieces that need to be done on it. So let's get her up in the air and have a bit of a look underneath. Okay, let's have a little bit of a look underneath here. So you can see she's in very fine condition. The front beam is all honky-dory, looking good. And obviously here's our single master cylinder here that we're going to swap out for the dual version, and the dual circuit, I should say. So we probably don't need to modify the actual brake lines. I think we'll just, I've done this mod before, so it's not a big deal. A couple of other little things. I think the accelerator linkage, we've got to play around with that a little bit more. I think some return springs on the, this one here needs to be fixed as well. This little spring here is not quite in its right location, so we'll fix him up as well. Yeah, she's very clean underneath here. Come and have a look at the back of it here. Here we go, you can see the engine. No leaks on the back, none from the push rod tubes, nothing leaking there. But we do have, you can see just here, there's a drip right there, and that's the rear main seal, so we will have to pull the donk out for that. But you know, the exhaust is coming off anyway, so, and it's, you know, got the original kombi gearbox in it, reduction hubs still on it, and the pans are in good condition as well. So we'll probably start up the front end and we'll just get the brakes, that brake master cylinder swapped out. Got it over here. This is what the dual ones look like. That's the dual setup with the spacer. So we'll get that all installed up and we'll go from there. All right, let's start with brake. Oh, that's easy. Two switches, them out the way. We'll probably have a bit of leaking brake fluid, but that's all right. Got a rag below me. That one's out. Now, a few people might say, oh, you know, why are you changing it out, you know, to a dual relief? Well, one thing, like I said, they are illegal in Australia. And the other thing is I've had a mate who was in a splitty and his brake failed coming into a roundabout, and he basically went straight through the roundabout, and lucky he didn't hit anybody, but he literally lost his brakes completely. So, you know, having a dual system, it's just, you know, a good peace of mind that you know you're going to have some sort of breakage if you do have a failure. So it's kind of a bit of a no-brainer. They're not that expensive to replace, and as you'll see here, they're not hard to do either. Take off your 3 lines. We're going to undo this 13mm at the front here. This little guy here, we'll zip him off quickly. Now we've just got to remove the front bolts, and they're 13 as well. Okay, and out we come. There we go. Now we need to switch off this. So we'll go and drain the fluid and be back in a second. Okay guys, so one of the first little mods that I had to do was the brake pedal. This little hole here was just blown out. It worn out obviously from years of use, so the bolt was slopping around inside it, and also the little bracket here that goes into the master cylinder, that was also all ovaled out. So filled them with weld, re-drilled them. Now they're nice and tight, as you can see there, and that's how they should be, so you don't have any slop in your pedal. So now we can reinstall this. We also have a new spring, because that thing there is shonky wonky, and we don't do that around here. So we're going to put a new spring in and go from there. Let's go.
A few moments later.
So here is the dual master cylinder, and you need a spacer, so that normally comes with a kit. This is an MP one, so obviously readily available in the States, not so available here in Australia, but you know, we get them in. Yeah, let's just mount her in and go from there. We'll just have to reroute some of our piping, which we might actually have a bit of a look at now first, because I'm sure they're going to be going all over the place. So we have to get, let's have a look here. We've got one coming from the top there, which we might relocate that one, because that's no longer going to be viable in that position. This one's fine. That one is front brakes, this one is rear brakes, and this one here is front brakes. So what we're going to do in that situation is we are going to go, we'll put the brake switch on that one. Well, actually no, because that one will be better to go into there. So that's front, which means that's front. Brake switch here, rear brakes here. Okay, so we've got to pull that one out of there. Okay guys, there we go. She's all mounted. I did manage to get all the brake lines to fit just with a little bit of rerouting around the back there, just so we're not touching any cables or anything. And yeah, no, we're all honky-dory, good to go. So now, unfortunately, I did put the double master cylinder brake unit in, and she's leaking, which is a big surprise to me, because normally these units are bomb-proof. But yeah, she's leaking out. It's bloody leaking everywhere now. Yeah, she's actually leaking through the back seal there, so obviously the O-rings inside have gone. I did pull it apart and have a look inside there, and there was a bit of junk, a bit of foreign matter. I don't know what it was. I cleaned it out, but yeah, no good, I'm afraid. So I had to put the old single one back in for now, and we've got to send this back to the UK, which is a real pain in the arse, you know. Here we are talking about aftermarket quality not being up to scratch anymore, and you're still paying top dollar for it, which is quite disheartening. So unfortunately, yeah, that's a big fail, and we'll have to get another one. I'd say one of the next things we're doing is obviously swapping out the exhaust system. So I've already taken out the valance, didn't want to bore you with those details, and we're just undoing the bolts now to get the stock exhaust off, and then we can start retrofitting up this new Sidewinder one. We've got to change the pipes just a little bit of TIG welding on the stainless. Yeah, let's get it done. Okay, so we've got the stainless steel J-pipes on. I've popped them on. Here's the collector part. Check that out. It's a beast, isn't it? Let's get that mounted. This is just a trial fit, obviously, because I have got a bit of welding to do. So we're going to just put him in his spot, and hopefully everything marries up. And they do. And we're just going to get some bolts. Stop shaking here. Bit of a pity that this thing has to get so scratched up. Let's hope it doesn't, but we're going to mount this now. And that's got to go back this way. I'll try and do this. So here's the exhaust pretty much just mocked up. I've just put the collective part on, and you can see the muffler tucked up there in the corner. If I just show you from underneath here, that's how she's going to sit. So we had to do a little bit of custom work, because originally this was down like that. So that got cut, tacked it back up in position. We've still got to fully weld it around, and then obviously I've got to now weld the next section, which is going to come out here and then split into twins off the back here. So that's all on. I still have to just finalize the back bracket, which is, if I climb underneath, you can see here we've got a bracket here, and we're pretty close. I think if we bend this bracket back a bit, I think we'll be in the ballpark to pick that location up, and we can bolt those two, because then it's obviously being held from the back as well. Anyway, that part's done. The next part is going to be just this the double pipe at the front. I'll go and grab that, which is over here, this piece here. There's another nice, this is the section that we have to weld on as well. Okay fellas, so here we are with the exhaust pieces, and as you can see, nothing fits because it's all custom, but that's how we roll. That's going to sit like so, and then I now need to modify these pieces here to fit where they're going to weld in like that, and then we've got to cut them and get them. Basically we want to get this to do that and do that like that, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to make it work.
2 hours later.
So what we've done is we have just moved this pipe here, and I've gone and just tacked it in position. I've gone and also welded changed the angle of this one. This still needs a little bit of modifying, but the idea now is it should fit. If I get the T-piece, I've just modified this one as well. Had to change a couple of angles of those. And now what should happen is that will slip on like so. And we're going to have our pipes hanging down like that, which will look rather nice. So what we need to do now is take off this whole assembly and fully weld up all these joins, because they're just tacked, and then we can put our gaskets in and finally mount it for the last time. I might even just clean this part up here and polish these tips a little bit too with the linisher. We'll see how we go. All right, let's get this part here off and get that on the table, and then we can start getting some TIG welding done, or finishing it off anyway. All right, so we've got this exhaust pipe all set up, and I'm actually trying one of these things today. I thought I'll give it a crack. The idea is you put your finger on this, and you can just wind your filler rod in and out instead of doing it the traditional method. I thought, why not? Little eBay purchase, pretty cheap, but we'll give it a crack. Got a bit of a hole to fill up, unfortunately, on this side here, so it's going to be playing a little bit of funny buggers, but we'll give it a go. Try and get yourself all nice and comfortable as usual. So here's all the welding finished up. You can see, you know, they weren't too bad. Pretty close to the factory welds that were on there. They weren't flat. They weren't like, you know, machine heli-arced. But yeah, that'll do the job nicely. Let's get this sucker mounted. Now, interesting, they didn't actually give us a flange for here, so we're just going to have to put some of the this stuff here on. A little bit of gasket. Assembly lube or paste or whatever. Resists vibration, permanent seal guaranteed. Problem solved. Well, we'll see about that. Let's stick a little bit on this flange and get this thing mounted. Well, that part is mounted. You can see I've just got this little bracket coming off the J-pipe. Yep, all these are done. Those flanges are nice and tight. We'll just get a bit of this crap off here. So that's nice and firm. That's not going anywhere. Yeah, she's firm as. All right, next part is I'm just going to go and take this and give this a polish up. I think this will look nice if it's not just raw stainless. Okay, so here we go. Got that all polished up. A little bit shinier than what it was. We're going to go and tack this in position, so he's going to basically fit in like so. And then we have to just kick it down slightly. We're going to be kind of living like about like that. One of the other little jobs I had to do was the grease caps on the front here were actually too long and they were fouling on the caps. So all I've done is just cut this back and TIG welded the cap closer to the nut, and we're all good. I can get that. I've got enough clearance behind it. So one more job ticked off. Just little bits and pieces. A few things they forgot to do underneath. They didn't put any tie wire on the gear linkage coupler here. There was no tie wire on those, and as you know, those things come loose and then you lose your gearing. I think the accelerator pedal has a bit of slop in it. So that's the next thing we're going to have a look at. Let's go and check out what the problem is. Problem solving. Now, let's have a look inside here. Get that rag out the way. What's the problem with the pedal? Oh yeah. So we've got side-to-side movement on the hinge. All right, that could be probably a little bit more difficult to fix, but let's have a crack at it. We're going to have to take the carpet out first. Okay, so we've removed the carpet and basically taken the pin out of the accelerator pedal. And you can see what the issue is. If I zoom in and come in close, I can show you guys. Here's the pin, and that basically runs straight through like so, but you can see there's your slot. So it just really means this part here needs to be crushed a little bit more. You can see it's out of square. It's not quite right. So you can take the pin out, give this one here a little bit of a squash, and that will sort us out. Then we can put the accelerator pedal back on again. All right, let's do it. Okay, so you can see now the pedal got a tiny bit of wiggle to it, but nothing like what it was. And I think you can't have it super tight, otherwise it'll bind and you'll go careering down the road into a, I don't know, a house full of penguins or something, who knows. We're going to put some seals, more custom and commercial German quality pedal to floor foam seals. So we're going to put those just in here because they need it, and let's get that done too. Okay, so we've got this little guy here. Pop him around the shaft. I'm trying to do this one-handed. Excellent. Good, good. There we go. Let's have a look here. Again, slitty over the toppy. Nice and straight. Good. Beautiful. And that'll free up a little bit of driving. It's only foam, so cool. That's two more jobs ticked off. Beautiful. And now we've got to put the gear stick knob and the cover back on over there, and we can call that part good. Okay guys, so it's the next day and we have our new master cylinder installed and all is good. That one worked perfectly. We got it all nicely bled and finito. We have to send the other one back, of course, and get some new O-rings for it or whatever we're going to do. We're pretty much done with this thing now, so yeah, I think she's going to be going out of here very soon. We'll get it down off the lift, all the engine bits and pieces. It did actually have a rear main seal that was no good. This thing's as hard as concrete. So that was another job I just did off camera. I didn't want to bore you guys with the same deal, but we pulled the engine out, changed that rear main seal, and no vibration in the engine lid. Did the exhaust. That's all finished. Nicely done. And yeah, this thing's out of here. So that will wrap up this quicker video, and I'll catch you in the next installment on the Beetle, and we'll see you then.